Okay, this is a Cyber 220 presentation on click agreements. Let's get right into it. So for starters, what are we going to talk about when we say click agreements? So we're going to be talking about what a click agreement is. We're going to be going over e-sign and UETA. We're going to ask the question, are click agreements enforceable? We're going to look at a couple cases, most notably Spect v Netscape and Nicosia v Amazon.com. And we're finally going to be talking about should we enforce click agreements. So what is a click wrap agreement? So they are basically the I agree statements on any electronic service or product. They provide the terms and conditions for using these services, and they are actually really enforceable in a lot of United States courts. Electronic Signatures Act e-sign. This facilitates the use of electronic legal agreements, and it determines the legality and enforceability of click agreements. And we have UETA, or the Uniform Electronic Transactions Act. This predates e-sign, and this is basically where click agreements first originated from, and it makes click agreements legally binding and enforceable. Now, are click agreements enforceable? It depends. Are the terms and conditions clear? In other words, are they easily read by the user? Can they be interpreted by the user and understood? Is the user forced to read them? Or is it like tucked away somewhere on your web page? Can the user bypass reading the terms and conditions of your service? And in this case, click agreements can be enforced, but is it fair? We're going to be getting into that in a little bit. Now we have Spect v Netscape. This is a very interesting case, one of the first click agreement cases out there. The terms and conditions were not conspicuous to the users. In other words, users had to actually scroll down and read terms and conditions. They did not, it was not like very obvious where the terms and conditions were on the webpage of Netscape Communications Corporation. And this case was ruled in favor of the plaintiff. And it basically outlined a few things about click agreements. In other words, download is not assent, so just because you downloaded a service does not mean you easily recognized the terms and conditions of using that service, and the agreement must be obvious. It can't be tucked away somewhere on your webpage or on some other webpage or something like that. Now we're going to get into Nicosia versus Amazon.com. The plaintiff in question purchased pills on Amazon, however did not know that the medication was a controlled substance sold from a third-party vendor. He sued for violation of federal laws and state consumer protection laws. However, in the case, the terms and conditions were outlined before he purchased the medication in question, and actually Amazon.com during the court case submitted a screenshot of the alleged purchasing page where the terms and conditions were hyperlinked and were presented before he purchased the pills, and thus the plaintiff's case was eventually dismissed. This outlines a key factor in that your terms and conditions can be hyperlinked as long as it is obvious where they are. And should we enforce click agreements? This is a very complicated question because in their current state, terms and conditions can be hard to read, and a lot of users do not actually read terms and conditions and do not have a real understanding of what it means to use these services and what exactly they are consenting to. So in their current state, they could be very hard to say we should enforce these click agreements because it is so common for users to just click through these agreements that they might have not read all the way through or might not have understood what certain terms mean. But yeah, and here are my references, and thank you so much.